Hey there. All right, so this is community question of the day. It's a new series where I'm going to be answering mondaydotcom questions I see pop up around Reddit and the community. That way, if you've got the same question, hopefully this helps. Today's question is about inventory management. Now, what I'll be showing is a very simplified way to do it. It's great if you just have a few items. If you have a lot of items or a lot of transactions, or you need more things like GL codes, things of that nature, you might consider looking at a third-party app. But for most cases, something like what I'm going to show you will work just fine. So the question that we got, or that I saw on Reddit today, was about how to track inventory coming in and out based on orders or transaction requests, things of that nature. I started by creating two very basic boards. One just called inventory tracker. And I just made, some fake items on here. I put in category, the shelf location of where they're at. If you want to track the vendor, you could also use a connected column to do that if you want to connect it out to a vendor board. Then we have the current quantity, the stock status, and then I've added a connection column for the transactions. All right, so then moving to the inventory transactions board, again, right now it's pretty basic. We've got in there, which inventory item, the transaction type, whether it's in or an out. Then we've got the quantity change, the number, the date, and notes. So I've started by adding a form. And the way to do that, if you go to the plus sign, go down to form, and we'll see. What it'll do first is it'll pull in every column from the board, but then we can make adjustments as we need to. So I'm going to go to edit form. I'll leave it as inventory transactions. The name, we can actually hide this. Inventory form, because this is going to be pulling from a connected column, we have to restrict the board, meaning only people with monday.com access will be able to answer this question. If you need external users to do it, then you would need to set it up a different way. If you've got questions on that, let me know. So the first thing is for this question, it was hidden. So now we're going to unhide it and we're going to make it required because that is definitely going to be something that we need to. Transaction type, I'm also going to make required. The quantity change, again, I'm going to make that required. Transaction date, I'm going to make it required. I'm also going to add today as the default date. Always obviously going to be best practice to do this form on the date the transaction happens. But, life gets away from us. Maybe it's Wednesday and we realize we should have done it Monday. We can adjust it if we need to. And then there's a notes column too. I won't make that required, but that will be there in case they need to add any miscellaneous notes about, something that happened. There's a lot more settings with the forms as well, which I won't get into right now, but you can go into the design, you can customize colors. There's a lot of settings that you can add, but for now, that's all we need. Then we can do share form, copy the link, and you could email that form out to your team and have them just save that as a favorite so that way they can submit it going forward. Now, if I go back to the form tab, if you're working from this board, you don't have to copy paste that link and open it in a different tab. Now, as of right now, I haven't set up any automations to adjust the inventory. So now let's go do that. The best way is with a workflow. So I'm going to create a new workflow. I'm going to say when an item is created on the inventory transactions board, because that's where that form lives, then I'm going to find the connected item. And the connected column that I want to find is the inventory item, which this board only has one, so it should be simple to do. And it only has one board connected to it, so I'm going to do inventory tracker. All right, so it's found the item on the inventory tracker board. All right, and then we need to make some rules depending on whether this is an in or an out of stock situation. So we are going to add a multi-branch step, and that's going to be if status matches. And again, for this one, those statuses are on the inventory transactions board, the type, and then I'm going to say, stock in, stock out. All right, so if it's a stock in, then we're going to go to action and we're going to say set number. The board we're changing again is the inventory tracker, not the inventory transactions. So we need to find that item. And then the quantity in stock is the number we're changing. And then choose what to do because this is a stock in action. We're going to increase the number. And the number we're going to increase it by, we're going to go back to that when item was created, the form was emitted, the quantity change. And then we're just going to copy, we're going to paste that step. And on this one, we're just going to say decrease the number by. Now, another way to not have to do it that way is if you make sure that they type in plus or minus on the quantity change, but we didn't set that up for this example, so that's why it's going to be separate. And then we're going to publish that workflow. So now if I go back to the inventory tracker board, as an example, this widget 1, it's at 210, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to come back to the transactions board, go to the form, inventory item, widget 1, transaction type, stock in, and you know what? Maybe we got 200 of them in stock. Today's date, I'll press submit. Go back to the main table. Again, this is the transactions board where everything will be listed. Now we see here's that form I just submitted. If I go to the inventory tracker board, here's that widget 1, and you'll see the quantity has increased to 410. Because it was at 210, we just added in 200. I'm going to go back to the transactions board, and now I'm going to add, stock out. I'm going to do 100, submit. Tracker board, and we'll see that 410 should decrease to 310 in just a moment. So now it's at 310. So that's a quick way to see what your current inventory options are. Some other things I would recommend in this kind of a situation is if you go into the item on the inventory board, we can actually add a custom view. So I just use the information widget that was already there. I go to the 3 dots, I go to settings. I don't include the name because the name's already going to be on the top. And then I'm also not going to show transactions in this widget. So now we can just see, the kind of the high level inventory information. It's in stock, what category it is, what shelf number it is. And then I'm going to add a connected boards widget. And because this board only has one connected column, it's automatically going to pick the right one. So if I want to see, related transactions from this board without having to go to the transactions board, I can see all of that in one spot. From there, you can have dashboards, all of that. If you've got a Monday question of your own that you want answered, pop it in the comments. Might be the next video. Thanks for watching. Hope it helped.